Yeah.
Like that. Ready?
Yep. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian, and today we're looking at an unusual H&K pistol. This is the P9S. These were developed in the 1960s, came on the market in 1969, and they were produced until 1978. And they're unusual in that they're actually a roller delay blowback pistol. The exact same mechanism as the main line of H&K rifles, just miniaturized for a 9mm pistol. They did also make these in .45, but this particular one is in 9mm. So let's go ahead and put a few rounds through it, see how it works. The muzzle is a little high on this design. It has a little bit of flip, but other than that, it's a pretty comfortable gun to shoot. It is, of course, a full-size 9mm service pistol sort of design. So why don't we go back inside and take a look at the insides and check out exactly how this works. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at how the P9 actually functions. We're going to start by removing the magazine. Like other early European autoloaders, this has a heel release. It's a single stack 9mm. They did also make these in .45. Now, double check, make sure it's empty, which it is. Now to remove the slide from the frame, we have a little lever up here inside the top of the trigger guard. What I need to do is push that in and then push the slide, there we go, forward. And then the slide comes right off the frame. Let's take a quick look at the frame first, discuss a couple interesting things that are going on there. First of all, the trigger is a pretty standard double action. We have a hammer back here. So when I pull the trigger, the hammer comes up. If the hammer's up, it has a double action pull. I can manually cock it and fire single action. Now the decocker on this gun is pretty weird. It's this lever on the side, which acts both as a cocker and a decocker. If I have the gun at rest, like it is now, and I want to manually cock it for a single action shot, I can run the lever down, and that will cock the hammer. Now if I want to decock it, what I have to do is pull the lever down and then pull the trigger, and that releases the hammer to its decocked position, which today's safety mentality, we would never have a control involve pulling the trigger like that. But back in the 70s, when HK was building these, that's how they decided to do it. So, interesting element of the design. The one other thing to take a look at while we're here, under this piece of sheet metal, there is actually a polymer buffer. The front of the slide, right here, impacts on this block at the end of its cycle, and then this block pulls on the polymer buffer, which decelerates the system a bit. So if you buy one of these and you plan to shoot it much, it'd probably be worthwhile to pull that apart and just make sure that the buffer's in good shape and not desiccated and falling apart. So, moving on to the actual operating mechanism. Looks a little complicated here. We're going to start by pulling the barrel out. The barrel and trunnion are fixed together. I'm just going to grab here, pull it back this way, and then lift up out of the pistol. So pull that out, and we get the recoil spring along with the barrel and the barrel trunnion here with these two ears coming off of it. We have, again, very much like an H&K rifle, we have a bolt head inside here. There's a little locking lever that I'm going to deactivate Just push down on that little locking lever, and then the bolt head slides out nice and easily. Now, it's like the world's most adorable little roller lock mechanism, roller delayed mechanism. So what we have our wedge right here that the rollers come to rest on. We have the rollers themselves are sitting in this bolt head. You can see they slide in and out just like this. So when the bolt head is forced back onto this wedge, it pushes both of the rollers out, where they proceed to engage in these two recesses in the barrel trunnion. So I can mock that up here for you. We put the bolt head all the way in, hold it in place, and then simulating the wedge here with my screwdriver, you can see that we've got these rollers coming out into the recesses in the trunnion. That locks the mechanism. When you fire it, the pressure on those rollers is distributed partially into these ears and partially backwards, and it allows a little bit of delay before those rollers get pushed in, and then the bolt head and the slide can start moving backwards. The barrel on the P9 is fixed in place. This lug locks into the frame, so the barrel doesn't move, and that has a couple consequences for the pistol design, positive ones really. Having a fixed barrel means it's a pretty accurate pistol, or at least it's a potentially very accurate pistol, because the barrel isn't moving with each shot. It also means it's a really good design to use a suppressor on. This particular one is in fact threaded for a suppressor. Since the barrel's not moving, having the extra mass of a suppressor hanging out the front doesn't do anything to hinder reliability like it does on a short recoil Browning style pistol. So the P9 is a hammer-fired design. You saw the hammer in the frame, and we have the rear end of the firing pin right here. You can see when I push that in, the front of the firing pin protrudes out, fires the pistol. It does have a safety on the side of the slide. This isn't a decocker. We saw the decocker on the frame. This is just a manual safety. And when I engage it, you can see this rotates up into place and prevents the hammer from pushing the firing pin far enough forward to detonate a cartridge. So, pretty simple there. P9 is a hammer fire. All right, we figured a cool comparison here would be to take a look at the P9, which is roller delay blowback, and the CZ52, which is a roller locked design. So they're very similar, but they do work a bit differently. Now, if we take a look at these, you can see the rollers here on the P9 locked into recesses. You can also see the rollers here on the CZ locked into recesses. The difference is, in the HK, these rollers are currently in this position. They're resting on an angled piece of a metal wedge, where in the CZ, they're resting on this flat surface. So no matter how much force you put on these rollers in the CZ, they can't open up. Whereas in the HK here, as you put force on them, some of that force acts to push the rollers inward. Push the rollers inward and unlock. So as I start to push the action back on the HK, you can see the rollers retreat into their recesses, and the action immediately opens. That is just dependent on the amount of force being exerted by pressure in the chamber. Whereas on the CZ, as I start to push, you can see that the initial travel, these rollers are sitting on that flat surface. And it's only when they get to right there that that wedge shows up and the rollers can move in and unlock. Then the pistol starts to cycle. So the difference here is that the CZ, the slide, has to recoil. This is a little tricky to do. The slide has to recoil about that far, so about 1/4 inch, before the system unlocks. Whereas on the HK, as soon as the slide has started moving, there we go, the system is unlocked. And that's the difference between roller delay blowback and roller locking.
You remember how to decock? Push the lever down, hold it down, pull trigger.
Oh God.
Release trigger, lever up.
Wait, lever.
You already did it. Yep, you just cocked it again.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'll just shoot it dry next time.